And we are so thankful to be at Bristol Motor Speedway on this Easter weekend. Good Friday to you. Temperatures in the low 70s, and this is the final practice for the Camping World Truck Series. Had a 50-minute session earlier today prior to that Cup practice. And here we are for the final session. Michael, what do they look to get accomplished here in this second session, maybe that they didn't get done in practice one, or is it just a continuation of?
It's just the evolution of the track. Where will it go and how do you adjust? If you just watch that Cup practice session, which I watched as closely as I could, dust flying everywhere, you could see black rubber in the corners and the speeds seemed to level off after losing a lot of time when practice started earlier. If you saw all that, when you look at this track now for this practice session, are you still in Bristol?
Yeah.
I mean, they prep the heck out of it. They have a machine they call the tickler, and they come through and tickle up the dirt, and that bunny is just looking around thinking, what are all these trucks doing and working on? We got fluff, we got crumbs, we haven't found a cushion yet, but we got all the dirt terms in this track. Talked to Clint Boyer, who knows a little bit about dirt racing, and Kyle Larson. They both said they love the direction the track is going with the prep that's going on and how this track is reacting to the trucks on the track.
Well, they certainly spent the 30 minutes since that Cup practice working on the track, and as you look at the top 10 from earlier today, some of those speeds posted early on when the track had a little more speed in it, then it tailed off, and then it kind of picked up again. As Caitlin mentioned, Haley Deegan, their 10th quickest, but they had to go to a backup truck after she got into the wall. How big of a challenge is that for this team?
Well, she came here to Bristol thinking she's going to win this dirt race, and they brought their best truck. So anytime you go to a backup truck, it's definitely a setback. But this place is a big equalizer. She can overcome that, rebound from it, and be a contender in this race. I liked what I saw in practice, especially late in that practice session with our trucks, because there was a truck, 51, Buddy Foyd. Sorry, Buddy Foyd. Buddy Kofoid. I have my eye on him because you spoke so highly of him, and Larson said he's the next big deal off the dirt tracks, and he really got going at the end of that practice session. So there's other stories like Buddy out there who will step up and be the fastest truck in this session.
Maybe it'll be Zane Smith. He is a two-time winner already this season, and he's with Josh Sims.
Yeah, Zane Smith, a guy that always has speed. So what did you learn during the first practice session out there on the track?
Yeah, I learned a lot, especially watching Cup practice. I kind of like what I'd seen as well with both lanes kind of coming in play. So that's not what we had last year. And I think it'll be a good show tomorrow night, and that's exciting. So I like these races because a lot of us are in the same boat. The dirt guys are obviously good, but I don't know. I haven't really driven dirt cars, but everyone that I talk to says they don't drive anything like a dirt car. So I like being in the same boat, but we're all having fun and trying to learn as we go.
And what do you want to get out of this second practice session coming up in a few minutes?
I don't know. I wish I kind of knew what heat I was in for tomorrow. So if we could roll out right away, if I'm in the first heat or if I'm in the last heat, obviously I want to practice there at the end. So I don't know. We just need to be good all around, really. I feel like if you're good in the beginning or the end, really you're going to be good either way. So we'll just keep working on it.
Zane Smith trying to add a dirt victory to his resume.
Well, and Josh, tell him he's in the second heat tomorrow. That has been drawn already. So, I think it is such a learning exercise. Each lap, the track is different. It'll be different from what they used or drove on in the first practice session. I liked how he mentioned how the track changed with the Cup cars out there, because in the truck practice that we saw, it was mainly around the bottom. The Cup guys came out and really pushed the top edge, the cushion, if you will, even though it's a very small edge. They pushed it way up the track, a lot different than we saw in the truck practice.
And I could see lap times made in both areas of the racetrack. You could run low and run some speed, or go up top, and you can see how much different this truck looked than that Cup practice that's just finished. A lot of dust in the Cup practice too, so we'll have to see how they address that. And you got to throw it to Zane Smith, and I had to say Kofoid.
It was so much easier.
Yeah, I would have nailed Zane Smith. I had that one. But let's go down.
How about Tanner Gray? Try that one.
Yeah. Josh, do you have Tanner Gray?
Yeah, you guys nailed it. So Tanner Gray, you were just talking with our buddy Todd Bodine. What advice did he give you?
He's just telling me to listen to Jerry. He's trying to give me all the advice he can. We know I need it, but no, it's been good. I'm excited to be here at Bristol, and learned a lot from Todd right there. So it's cool when he comes down and takes time out of his day to talk to you.
What do you want to get out of this second practice session?
I feel like this will give us a better read on where we need to be for the race. You know, we went out early in the first practice because I think we're starting outside row in the first heat. So I wanted to get some laps on the track when it was wet and just kind of see where our balance was. But I think this will give us a better read for where we need to start the race. I feel like we were a little bit tight in the first practice. We need a little bit of rotation early on to get pointed a little bit better. But you know, right here, I think you're going to need to be tight. So I figure this will probably blow off pretty quick and get back to being fairly slick. So probably going to wait a minute and then roll out and see what we got.
Thanks for your time and good luck.
Tanner Gray, what a terrific start to the season. I really focus on that average finish. Last year, his average finish 22nd. This year so far, average finish 11th. And is that the Jerry Baxter factor?
Well, Baxter certainly does a good job, a lot of experience and knowledge, but you're just going to get better and better. Tanner Gray proved to us right out of the bat that he had a lot of talent and would be able to run up front in these races. And that 11th place average was after that little bump in the road at Martinsville. So it's been a great start to the season. I see Baxter and his boys down there, and they're always big smiles, love the truck series, and love the fact that they've got Tanner behind the wheel of their truck.
Here's Parker Kligerman. You heard Tanner say maybe they were going to wait a little while before they got out and let the track blow off a little bit after just getting worked and watered. But Parker Kligerman not wasting any time getting out there and putting some laps in. There's Ben Rhodes in the 99, runner-up here to Martin Truex Jr. last year. Kaz Grala out as well. Good to see Kaz in that 02. Part-time schedule for him with Young's Motorsports in that machine this year.
You know what I love, Vince, and everything about dirt racing makes me smile and makes me happy to be here. I'm very energetic about what we're seeing. But, you know, as a racer, as a guy that grew up racing on asphalt and done that his whole life, they don't change the track after practice, you know? It's the same track all weekend long. Maybe, yeah, sure, it takes a little rubber, and there is a bit of a evolution of how the grip works, but nothing like this drastic change. I mean, when that cup practice was over, there was, let me just show you what's happened today. This is the start. It looks, first laps, earlier day, 3 o'clock, you can see pretty benign looking, guys just sliding around a little bit. No real groove yet. And this is what it looked like at the end of that cup practice just a bit ago. Dust everywhere, 2 distinctive grooves in the corners. And the track prep team, the mad scientists that come into town, and they have all the ticklers and the machines that they go out and prep the dirt with. They went to work after cup practice, and this is what we have now. Drastically different than what we saw just a bit ago.
And it'll look completely different than this at the end of this practice, and then the cup guys will come back out. But that's one of the things that, especially I think dirt fans and dirt racers really enjoy, is the challenge of keeping up with a constantly changing track. And that's what makes the best dirt racers the best. And certainly one of the elements that makes them the best.
Zane Smith.
Oh, that'll tickle you.
There you go.
Final practice for the Camping World Truck Series on the dirt at Bristol. Good Friday afternoon to you as you look at Buddy Kofoid looking to make his first Camping World Truck Series start. Driving for Kyle Busch Motorsports, coming from the USAC ranks. He was the 2021 USAC National Midget Champion, and driving for Keith Kunz Motorsports, coming the path of Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, Rico Abreu, all came through that USAC factory, if you will. And in talking to Keith Kunz and also to Larson, they indicated that he's every bit the talent of a Larson and a Bell. Those are pretty big shoes to fill, Michael.
That's a great resume that he's put together, obviously. And this opportunity, you know, it's got to be huge for that young man. Dean Thompson just there in front of the 51 of Kofoid. And I've been eagerly anticipating watching this debut for this young man just because of all the things I've heard. So it's going to be fun. Hope he can have a good run.
On board with Joey Logano. Love this bumper cam. He's at the top of the chart so far.
I love listening to his foot. We heard Grant Enfinger talking about working the gas. Listen to this. That was all the way up on the straightaway before he could mat it and just working it, trying to get all he can. And he's the fastest truck here.
Yeah, and so many times with a dirt vehicle, you steer it with the gas pedal. And hearing that from Logano. A little advantage for Logano. I think he had the truck practice, then he had the cup practice, and now he's back in the cup car. I wouldn't be surprised, or in the truck. I wouldn't be surprised to see him stay at the top of the chart if he continues to run laps throughout the course of this practice.
That'll be, I think, what you do if you're a big fan of the truck series and them on dirt. Just jot down some times right now, or you can just look at the left of the screen, times that these drivers are running, and then see what the track does. The times could fall off, but eventually they might start to pick back up as these guys move around in the corners and trying different grooves.
Matt Crafton in that yellow 88, trying to work around Colby Howard just ahead of him there in the 91, and then that's Ty Majeski down on the bottom in the 66. Majeski never run a dirt race before, has never run a dirt race. Today, his first time on dirt in a vehicle, as you see the ThorSport trucks on the left pylon. And Majeski wasn't quite sure what to expect. He said this is going to be a new experience, and I think he's held his own just fine.
You know what I'd have told him? Neither did Martin Truex Jr. He didn't really know what he was getting himself into, and it resulted in going to victory lane. And I'm already seeing things that make me encouraged about what kind of racing we're going to see. You can see that track was really dug up. We saw the machine doing it just before we went to break, but it's already starting to look a lot like earlier. And look at the multiple grooves. Guys running great lap times, and not all of them just down on the bottom digging. They're all over this track.
Well, and that's really what we saw the Cup cars do, because in the initial truck practice, they were down around the bottom mainly, and then the Cup cars came out and really widened the groove, and the track has widened out, as you said, Mike, considerably. And to see them run 2 and in a couple of instances 3 wide is already encouraging here in this practice session.
Yeah, and as we go through this session, we'll pick some guys and girls that maybe didn't have the practice session they wanted to in the first session, and where they wound up in this session, how they were able to take advantage of the ever-changing track.
Well, certainly one who did not have the practice that she was hoping for in that initial session was Hailie Deegan. Contact with the wall. They had to go to the backup. What's the latest with that effort, Josh?
Yeah, guys, tough start to the weekend for Hailie Deegan. You're looking at the damage to the right front of her truck from the first practice. So, like you mentioned, Vince, they're going to the backup truck for the race this weekend. That backup truck will not be ready for practice, but the team tells me that backup truck will be ready for the heat races tomorrow. So a tough start to the weekend for Hailie Deegan.
Well, that is indeed, because if there's any place that you could use the practice, this is it. And so that's a tough blow for that Gilliland Racing Group and driver Hailie Deegan. Final practice for the trucks on the dirt at Bristol. Plenty left to go. Stay with us. "37 minutes and some change left in practice here for the Camping World Truck Series on the dirt at Bristol. And boy, if you haven't seen the vehicles on the track on dirt at Bristol, you are looking at the screen going, wow.
That's awesome, isn't it? I mean, Chase Elliott carved his way through these trucks. He had a spin earlier today, spun his Cup car as well. But this is a line I like what he's doing, Vince. See, middle of the turn, he's up high, and he diamonds it and makes it work coming off the turn. So an interesting line, something we haven't seen yet, but Chase is feeling it out there.
When he spun in the practice earlier and then spun again in the Cup practice, so he's been working on finding the limits of both the truck and the car, and that's part of it. And you know, Chase is one of those guys that's really made an effort to become a better dirt racer. He's run a lot of midget stuff, and he's realizing that, you know, it's fun, as you see one that has gone around, that's Purdy in the 61. But with Chase Elliott, he's realized that it can be fun, it can be challenging, it's something new and different, and I've really enjoyed seeing him get out and work to be a better dirt racer. And whether or not that pays off in the truck or the Cup car on Sunday night, I like his attitude about it.
I was watching Chase Purdy. He's chasing Chase Elliott and gets down into turn 1 just a little bit lower than he had, and around it went. So that's a great view there, Vince, of the differing lines that we have in this early part of this final session. Chase was making good time, Purdy was on the bottom, and just got in there a little bit too hot.
No harm, no foul, no damage done, and Green is back out on track as Purdy takes it into the pits.
Anytime you can spin and don't hit anything,
or flat spot your tires,
and you're not going to do that here, that's a learning experience, and it's going to make you better.
Derek Kraus was fast in that first practice. Mentioned he won the pole last year at Knoxville and finished 5th, so feels comfortable here on the dirt.
I feel comfortable watching it because it looks really challenging, and you know it's easy to overstep your boundaries, as we saw a couple of guys do already, and it's rewarding when you do it perfectly, like Logano did early in this session. He's the fastest truck so far. Kraus is just outside the top 10. There's our buddy Zane.
Zane Smith currently the leader in the playoff standings with those 2 wins, 13 playoff points, and Christian Eckes there on the outside in the 98. Eckes also well inside the top 10 of the playoff standings, sitting 6th currently. And Zane brings it in. You know, it's nice for Zane Smith. He's kind of playing with house money with those 2 wins already. It's nice this early in the season to be able to do that. Of course, he wants to accumulate stage points and playoff points, etc. But with those 2 wins, it's quite a luxury.
We talked earlier, he's going to start in that second heat back about 10th, 8th or 10th, and that means he's got an opportunity for passing points, and that's another good thing about where he's starting and what he might be able to accomplish.
John Hunter Nemechek, we got off to a tough start. 3 straight finishes outside the top 20, even though he had run well, just didn't get any good finishes in those first 3. But since then has put back-to-back top 5s together, looking more like the John Hunter that we've come to know in the Truck Series.
95.
John Hunter Nemechek. Heard the spotter say, or crew chief say 95. That's a 20:95. That was lap time. That time by 20:48, a little bit faster. I think it's interesting how the track's got sort of 3 different dark areas in the corner: low, medium, and high. And then there's some gaps there where it just looks like nobody's been. And we've seen them all over the corner, but predominantly must be running in those 3 lanes.
Carson Hocevar doesn't have a lot of experience on dirt, but you wouldn't really be able to tell by the way that he has attacked it. Solid in that first practice.
He's just a talented young racer. He can get it done anywhere.
Joey Logano, fastest of the bunch so far, waiting for his next tour of the dirt tomorrow night.
Generals and the Stallions, that new league kicking off. I'm pretty pumped up about that.
Pumped up about the dirt on the half mile here at Bristol as truck practice continues. And, you know, of course, we know Bristol's the high banks on the concrete, and that's the same with the dirt on track, kind of a progressive banking.
Yeah, and I think the truckers, and you walk down on the surface, Vince, you really can't see it. It's just 4 degrees, but you can feel it. You get a couple more degrees up high, and it's going to be something you want to try to take advantage of. And we're seeing a lot of that. Guys that are marching up there in that 20-degree top progressive banking, making it work. There's a good view of the corners here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
And it looks completely different with the dirt on it, doesn't it?
It does.
I mean, if you just saw this right here, I mean, how many people would guess Bristol if you hadn't seen it before? As you look at Crafton in the 88, the 44 is Chris Wright. Crafton, of course, a former winner. On and there's some pretty significant contact up there in turn 2. It's the 02 of Kaz Gralla. The 24 of Jack Wood was involved in that one as well.
To the top there.
Was that Austin Dillon as well?
The 20 was going to roll by right there, and you'd be fine, but he stopped and into that.
It was Austin Dillon, Mike.
That's team trucks.
So Dillon and Gralla and Jack Wood. And there's heavy damage on that 02. The 20 of Dillon took it in the significant portion of that damage to the rear end. I don't know if that's a backup, but I got to believe Kaz Grala is going to a backup with that damage.
Look at the damage up on the left front, too, though.
That's significant.
You can
there
see
on
the
that
back
20.
end's really bent down. Did Woods?
Top of the screen. Keep an eye on the top of the screen there.
Yeah, Jack Woods spins. Now, is there room to get through the top? And he gets a little bit loose and was going to be fine.
Oh.
But you just can't stop on dirt like you can on the concrete here at Bristol. The brakes just want to skid. Nice job by Austin picking his way through there, but just Kaz got in the corner, didn't know Wood was up there and plowed him.
Yeah, and as you said, Mike, you can see that you want to stop, but actually hitting the brakes doesn't necessarily bring you to a stop on the dirt, and that's unfortunate.
A lot of times on dirt, you got your truck set up to have a lot of rear brake in it to help with the corners, but under power. But conversely, when you need to stop in a hurry, we've seen it before. It's just not possible.
Yeah, that is heavy damage for Kaz Grala. Austin Dillon climbing from his truck as well. Tough break for those two for sure. Welcome back to Bristol.
Hello.
Good Friday evening to you, and hello to you. So glad that you could be with us today. It's 6 o'clock in the East, and we are about halfway through this final practice for the Camping World Truck Series. As you see, clock upper left-hand portion of your screen on what's remaining. And Michael Waltrip, I'm Vince Welch upstairs, and Josh Sims is downstairs. Josh?
Yeah, Grant Enfinger, certainly a truck to watch this weekend. In all 5 of his truck starts on the dirt, he's finished in the top 10, and he's loving his truck so far. He's been fighting off a little bit, being too tight through the middle, but otherwise he said it's not hurting the way. He's got speed out here, and he's really excited for this race.
Yeah, I think Enfinger will be one of those that would have to be considered a favorite. Not only all 5 top 10s, but 4 of those 5 were top 5s, and you can see the checkered flag and the winner's trophy from that close to the front. And Enfinger, I think, will be one to keep an eye on, and certainly curious to see how Jessica Friesen in the 62, of course the wife of Stuart Friesen, how she will do tomorrow night as well. And Stuart is on track in the 52. Very similar paint schemes on those 2 trucks. You're seeing Jessica in the 62, and Stuart is not too far behind in the 52 as we've got one around in turn 2.
Cautious out spinning to
Lawless
right
Allen.
the racetrack.
He's going to get rolling, Vince.
Yep.
You see a little damage on the left rear, got into the fence, but they'll be able to pull that fender out. Josh, another guy involved in a bit of a wreck. Austin Dillon, how's he doing?
Yeah, unfortunate incident for you there, Austin Dillon. I saw Kaz Grala got into the back of you. What did you see? What happened there?
Yeah, I saw the 24 spin, and I thought by the time I got the front tires back, I wasn't going to be able to get left and knock the tail off of it. So if the 24 would have eased down the track just like a lane, I think we would have both ran through, but he was just locked up right there. And unfortunate, the teammate got me in the back, and he couldn't get it slowed down, is what he said. So it was tough. We'll work on it hard, try and get it back out there. Hopefully we get to keep our start position. Maybe that rear clip don't matter a whole lot when we're out here at the dirt track.
What have you noticed about the track and the way this thing has changed? Have you noticed anything on turn 2? It seems like a lot of the incidents have been happening there.
I didn't hear anything you said, but track's widening out a little bit. I think it's cleaner right now when they went back out there and kind of worked it in, so that's good. It was a dust bowl earlier.
All right, good luck the rest of the weekend. Thank you, Austin.
It'll be interesting to see, Vince, as we go through this practice and into the Cup, guys. Dust bowl was what Austin Dillon said, and we can see it's just a little dusty now. This is pretty awesome, actually, the way the truck's coming in and the way the moisture is keeping all the dust down. As we practice for another 45 minutes or so with the trucks and the cars, what happens to this track?
Certainly we've seen the evolution of it throughout the 2 practices we've already seen with the trucks initially, and then the Cup practice, and now back for the trucks here in this second session. About halfway through, a little beyond halfway through this final practice as we ride with Stuart Friesen. We talked about Enfinger being considered one of the favorites tomorrow night. Friesen would have to be on that list as well.
Pretty interesting, Vince. He was fastest in the first session. We talked about the track changing and guys waiting to go. When would the speed be the best? Stuart Friesen's 34th in this session, if you're wondering how much different track conditions make. And what is that team, what's going on? Why are they back that far, I wonder?
Back to Josh Sims, who was with Kaz Grala, also involved in that accident.
Yeah, Kaz involved in that accident with Austin Dillon just a few minutes ago. How's the truck looking, and what's the outlook for the team right now?
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously frustrating. You know, it's tough conditions out there. You've got no grip. You're sliding. And at that point, I had committed to the top, and you add on top of that, you can't see anything. So spotter says, go up, go up, go up. And I'm doing my best to get slowed down on the line that I'm on. And by the time you can actually see the truck and where they're stopped, it's way too late. So that's frustrating, and unfortunately going to be a lot of extra work for our Young's Motorsports crew. So I feel bad for them. It's definitely did not help our truck, and I mean the 20 got some pretty good damage there too. So apologize to all of those guys, but I mean we're doing our best out there. I was definitely doing my best. So yeah, it's a tough situation, but hopefully we'll get the Rudabush Chevy fixed up and be able to contend tomorrow.
Is there optimism you will not have to go to the backup truck, or is that how it's looking right now?
We're not sure yet. I think they're going to try to repair it. They're going to see what they can do. I'm not sure that we have multiple backup trucks here at the track. I'm going to guess we don't. So I think whichever one of us is worse for damage will possibly take the backup truck and the other one try to fix it. So we're going to do what we can on this one.
As you hear, conditions certainly getting tougher out here, guys.
You know, I love Austin Dillon's attitude. I don't know if that rear clip means that much. We'll just pin that body out. And I think if I'm an owner, Tyler Young does such a great job with Young's Motorsports, but if I'm an owner, I'm thinking to myself, if we can fix it, I'm going to fix it, because there's a good chance we're going to see some more bumping and banging before this weekend's over.
Well, there's a real reason why the primary truck is the primary truck, and when you have to go to multiple backups in one team, that really creates some issues, and a lot of these teams dealing with some a struggle for parts and pieces, especially for a dirt truck, because they're looking ahead to their schedule in May and June, which they've got, 8 races in 8 weeks, and things are a little tight in the parts department.
What about this line Chase Elliott's taking on, Vince? The Cup cars were up that high, and you can see right out next to the outside wall. We didn't see this a year ago, and this is so cool to watch these guys search around and figure out where the groove is.
Hey, we didn't see this in the first practice of the trucks. The guys up this high, and it's good to see the track has widened out
a lot better this time.
significantly. And Chase making up some time on that 91 of Colby Howard right there in front, or excuse me, the 51 of Buddy Kofoid right in front of him. And if you're making time up on Buddy, you're doing a pretty good job. So Chase Elliott's got some speed in that 7.
Yeah, I like what I'm saying. Buddy ripped off the 4th fastest lap early in this session, and now Chase is being able to make some good time on him.
Practice continuing on the dirt at Bristol. Back at Bristol, 15 minutes and change left in this second and final practice for the Camping World Truck Series. You see the best 20-lap averages over there on the right-hand side of the screen. A little bit misleading because you're not necessarily sure that the track was the same. In fact, you can about guarantee the track was not the same for all 20 laps for each driver. But interesting combination here. Chase Elliott in the 7, Chandler Smith in the 18, and then right behind them, Buddy Kofoid in the 51. We're really seeing, I think, some good laps from Chase Elliott in the last couple of minutes.
He was able to drive around Kofoid, and then Chandler Smith began the pursuit of Chase Elliott, and I just like the way with lap times as they run right now. Chase, Ty Majeski, even Carson Hocevar putting down some mid-21-second laps, some of the fastest on the track. But Chase has been impressive because he was able to move through that crowd. He passed 4 or 5 trucks in just a couple of laps.
And there's Majeski. Majeski, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, was telling me today that he has never run on the dirt before. He said, oh, maybe I've run like a go-kart or something on dirt. He said, but I've never raced anything of significance on dirt. He said this will be a completely new experience. And Chase Elliott, you mentioned Chase, and got some dirt invaders, if you will, being the Cup guys coming down: Chase Elliott, Harrison Burton, Austin Dillon, Joey Logano, and then Buddy Kofoid, the USAC National Midget Champion, Jessica Friesen, who certainly has earned her stripes in a dirt car throughout the course of her career, even though she's mostly full-time mom, part-time racer these days. In between being a mom and running the screen print business that the Friesens have, and she is doesn't get to race as much as she used to, but still formidable when she gets behind the wheel. Elliott on the left, Harrison Burton on the right.
They're both up really high on the track. Just to give you a sense of their lap times, Chase Elliott 21:40. It's the best I've seen lately. Harrison ran a 60, so he's a couple of tenths off of Chase.
Logano back out. His last lap was a 21:46. Not quite as quick as Chase Elliott. Oh, it just dropped it down to a 21:25.
Truck in front of you is probably the next best consistently.
Good communication from the spotter there for Joey Logano, and that's Coleman Presley, his Cup spotter, also spotting for him this weekend in the truck.
And that truck in front of him that he's talking about, and I'm seeing this in the lap times, that is Christian Eckes. He's been able to really lay down some great laps right now as he's just ahead. And then over to the right, that's Colby Howard. Colby was strong in that first practice session today. So you can see these guys, spotters, really keep their eyeballs peeled on who's moving around. Maybe a spotter is more important here about what the other racers are doing, more so than just, you know, giving a guy a little bit of a clear sign here and there. Just being able to get a sample of all the different competitors and what their lap times are, that's very valuable.
It's interesting, you see the 54 of Logano working the top as we now watch Stuart Friesen more on the bottom.
The nose right in the center no matter what.
Yeah, Friesen
I
coming
need
to the
right
pits.
front, left front grip.
Yeah, and his last lap time was a 21:90, so something has gone south on that team from first practice to second.
Still a little more than 10 minutes left. Last bit of an opportunity to get this thing tuned up and feeling comfortable for tomorrow's heat races. Inside of 10 minutes remaining, final practice, Camping World Trucks on the dirt at Bristol.
Think about every truck in Tennessee's out on the track. This place is full, and that makes for fun to watch too, because you can look around and see who's able to move around, make a pass, like Grant Enfinger is doing here off turn 2. He was able to drop low and make the move to the inside, and that's something we haven't seen a lot of. Austin Wayne Self in the 22, he's up top, and Grant was able to clear him.
I think this is really valuable practice time too, Mike, because this is more along the lines of what we're going to see tomorrow night in regards to track conditions, time of day. I think these will be the most similar race conditions that these truckers have experienced today in this practice, two practice session day. As Carson Hocevar in the 42 tries to work the bottom there against Chris Wright in the 44. And Hocevar, yeah, 62 laps run.
Among the most, but Chase has run the most, and he's also run the furthest because he's running right around the top of this racetrack, making the half mile over a half mile with his line.
But what I like about that is he's obviously running the truck race to be better in the Cup race. So why not run as many laps as you can? The more you run in the truck, the better off you're going to be in the Cup car, even if it's just a simple feel for the dirt. And obviously the trucks and the Cup cars are going to drive a little bit differently, but still getting that feel, and that's the whole idea behind racing the truck tomorrow night.
As we look out the back of Joey Logano's truck, that's Tyler Ankrum that's sandwiched between Chase and Joey. Joey's giving it up, I believe, and Chase is still ringing the top.
It's been a bit of a learning curve for Tyler Ankrum as he's moved over from GMS to Hattori Racing this season, and really singing the praises earlier today when I visited with him of Scott Zipadelli and Eddie DeHaan, and how much they have brought him along, how much he has learned in a short period of time with Hattori Racing.
What I love what Joey's doing right now, he's gone to the very bottom, not backing it into the corner, just aiming it to the bottom and trying to run there and see what's available. Obviously, around goes Ankrum, there goes Chase. Joey just learned the bottom's not there yet, but I haven't seen anybody dedicate themselves straight to the bottom like that. And Chase is going to go by, but Joey just did an experiment there. We saw him up high, and then he went low.
We talked a little bit about Tyler Ankrum. Here's some radio from that team.
The line's going to keep moving up until we run out of wet. All through the corner, the line will be quick along that berm, and then in the wet for about 50 laps, and then we'll start moving back down again. As we go, you got to get your right rear in that wet on both front rear straightaways. If not every lap, as much as you can to keep the right rear cool so it doesn't burn off.
You think those spotters don't have a knowledge of what's going to take to be successful here?
Yep.
Watching down, reporting what he's seeing other trucks do and make work.
Well, and Eddie DeHaan was giving some great information to Tyler Ankrum in regards to the wet dirt and the moisture that he was looking for, and you can see the different color. The darker the dirt, the more moisture that's in it, and that means getting up a little closer to the wall to find that moisture, because moisture is grip, and you just saw Chase Elliott go up as high as he could go and get in that right rear into that dark portion of the dirt, and that's where you find the grip. And easier said than done, though. You see it and you go, boy, that's awful far up to the wall. Matt DiBenedetto's run a good portion of laps today and has looked smooth. Let's check in with Josh on the latest.
Yeah, Matt DiBenedetto came over the radio and said he just doesn't feel like he's going fast enough, and that's because he says he has no lateral grip and says that truck just keeps yawing out on him. They made a track bar adjustment to see if it would help before he went back out to run a couple more laps, hoping he can get that speed he wants.
Does anyone have any lateral grip? It doesn't appear. I guess,
to me.
I guess some have more than others, but it looks like there's limited grip all over.
I guess it's always worth asking for, right? Getting close to the end, less than 5 minutes left in this final practice for the Camping World Truck Series at Bristol. Been fun so far. Good shot of the moon here on this. Oh no, it's the track.
I was like, there's activity on the moon. A lot of activity. The seconds are running down on this session, and the track is full of competitors. Joe Logano, he's been interesting to watch, moving all over this racetrack. Stuart Friesen has been a big challenge for him in this session. Fastest in the first and nearly last in this one.
That's Logano on the right, Friesen on the left, and Austin Self has lost the handle in turn 2. Boy, everything we have seen today, I mean, we've seen multiple spins. We've seen a couple of accidents. Haley Deegan has gone to a backup. Austin Dillon and Kaz Grala, significant damage to their trucks, trying to avoid Jack Wood. Everything has happened in turn 2. Even the Cup practice, we saw a couple of spins in turn 2. So
we don't. I mean, there's been enough activity over there to make something of it. Exactly what it is, I'm not sure, because you can't. You know, this track's equally the same on both ends, but the dirt could be coming in different down there, as you see Tanner Gray way up on the track.
Second corner, all clear.
That's Harrison Burton behind him there in the 17. Normally we'd call that the cushion up there in the corners, but I'm not sure how much of a ledge there is up there, because it seems awfully dusty, but you can see just the different color of dirt as they get up toward a little more moisture. Chase Elliott's doing double duty this weekend. He's with Josh.
Chase Elliott, 5th fastest in the second practice. What did you learn out there from the 2 practice sessions in the truck?
Yeah, I actually thought our HinderCars.com and Napa Chevy Silverado was pretty good. Just trying to learn as much as I can for the Cup race. You know, I felt like I struggled really bad here last year, and it's not a real dirt race, so it's just different. But you know, at least we have 2 lanes right now, which is an upgrade from what we had last year. So
hopefully it stays that way tomorrow, and we can have our truck driving like it was then. I feel like the balance is in a pretty good place. Now, whether or not what I do with that from there, I don't know. But I think the balance is in an okay spot. But big thanks to Chevrolet. Appreciate them letting us come do this stuff. HendrickCars.com and really everyone at the Hendrick Automotive Group. They're pushing this and allowing us to come over from the Cup side and try to get some more time. So really appreciative of that, Mr. Hendrick, for letting us come over.
What's the difference between the two? I saw you fighting it a little more in that Cup Next Gen car.
Yeah, just trying to find the limits of it. Seems like you can get a little more yelled out in this car. That car not so much. The tire's a little different. I think we're on more of a radial over there. This is more like the tire we ran last year. The truck seems to be a little easier to kind of find that happy spot, and I think that's probably just that's not unachievable over there either. We just got to hit on it. So we'll go to work here and see what we got.
Appreciate your time and good luck.
Yeah, very interesting insight there from Chase Elliott. And as he said, he's running these truck practices and the truck race to get better for the Cup race. Didn't feel like he was very good in it last year, or certainly as good as he'd like to be. And why not use this as an exercise to get better? I love it.
And I love it too. And I just love the look of that 7 truck on the long run. You see top 5 in the overall scoring, but these two guys fastest in the first session, second session. Joey Logano took over. Stuart Friesen, we heard some of his radio traffic. He just didn't have the grip. Remember earlier today, Vince, he said he didn't like the way he loved the way it was loading the back. He said that went away, so will be interesting to see how they work on the truck to get ready for tomorrow. But you can bet one thing, he will be ready come tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. Stay tuned. Cup Series practice coming your way next, and there you see tomorrow with the heat races beginning at 4:30 Eastern for the Camping World Truck Series. For Josh Sims and Michael Waltrip, I'm Vince Welch. Stay with us right here on FS1. Cup Series final practice is coming your way with Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and a return from DW, Darrell Waltrip, back in the booth. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.